Sean O'Brien, Teamster president, he went to Washington and he talked about issues facing truck drivers, the trucking industry. And he did mention about a bill in front of Congress to a Democrat and a Senate and a Republican are hopefully will put forth, and I don't know how successful it would be, but to speed up the process if workers want to unionize at their particular trucking company. Trucking companies learned in the past how to break unions. They learned how to delay the process. So if a company, you have a bunch of workers who want to form a union within their company, the companies know how to delay the process. Delay it, and it never happens. Some companies, if not done right, even if they form a union in a particular company, let's say Amazon would form a union in a particular state. Well, Amazon would probably just close that facility down. Keep it closed for 2 or 3 years and then reopen it later on. They know how to break unions. It has to be done right. And sometimes the workers are their own worst enemies. When they form a union, they want too much. Sometimes a union might work at a pretty decent contract, and then the workers themselves will say, no, we're going to vote this contract down because we want more. And the union says, slow down, take it step by step. You take what you can take, and you don't go around there and demand unrealistic terms. So sometimes they are their worst enemies. But a good, let's say if you're going to form a union with the Amazon truckers, put them all in a union, you need to have a master contract throughout the United States. You cannot have just one in one particular state. So these workers need to be patient. They need to go state by state and get all workers on board. So if let's say you're going to unionize Schneider Trucking Company, you need to have every facility throughout the United States under one master negotiating plan. So one contract covers every single driver within the United States. That way you got power. When United Parcel Service, years ago when I first started driving for them, they didn't have that. They had Atlantic District. They had certain areas where they had the contracts. And UPS, there were times when they would just shut down a district. Let's say Philadelphia, I think I could be wrong, but I think one time they tried to delay the contract and UPS just shut them down for 2 or 3 years. That's years and years ago. When I went on strike with UPS for, I think in the 70s, early 80s, probably 70s, it lasted almost 2 months, 3 months. But that was only covering so many states. Maybe the Atlantic region. And UPS is still running their operation in the rest of the country. But once they went to a master plan, a master contract would cover the whole United States, covers everything, you didn't see long strikes anymore. They did have one, and only lasted about 2 weeks because companies, UPS, had to work at a settlement. If I'm right, maybe no more than 3 weeks, but it had to come to a conclusion because you're shutting down the whole system. That gave the union power, and that gave the workers power to negotiate good contracts. And you see what UPS drivers are getting paid now. It's not always perfect, but if you don't work as a unit, if the unit is not solid, covering the whole United States, it usually does not work. So, can unions help solve some of the issues? Yeah, I think it can if it's done right. But it's not easy. It's not easy. A lot of workers don't want to be a part of a union. That's another issue. They don't want to be a part of a union. They're afraid they don't want to, oh my goodness, we're going to go on strike. But there's ways to handle that for if a worker knows how to handle it, worker's not going to suffer all that much. But you also don't want a union to destroy your own company that you're working for. But yeah, I think unions can make a difference in the trucking industry. The worse it gets, the more chances are that some companies will become unionized once again.